Well, unfortunately this is not a Mass Effect model, it's a Star Wars. But it's a ship, and I want to rate Mass Effect ships. But before I do that, feel free to follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at CommanderNici, just like my channel name. And now let's get into the video. So, let's start with the one, the only, well, the first. The SSV Normandy. Pretty good ship, and it holds quite a bit of sentimental value since the journey began there. So, what I like about this ship... Another Valentine's Day. Another one. All by myself. Don't wanna be all by myself anymore. Okay, all jokes aside, what I actually do want to talk about is ships. But relationships, since it's Valentine's Day, and what's better for this date to dive into the relationships of the Mass Effect universe. So to all the couples out there, happy Valentine's Day, and to all the singles, happy sales day on chocolate and other Valentine's Day themed stuff tomorrow. So let's actually for real get into the video. As I said in the joke intro, feel free to follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at CommanderNici, just like my channel name. And yeah, so I want to start on Mass Effect 1. Obviously, I'll partially talk about the other entries in the series because of the ships in there, but you'll see. So, let's start with Liara, our blue, wonderful alien woman, probably kind of controversy, upstirring, #1 lady. I like her, even though in Mass Effect 1 she's kinda like... She feels young, and I've mentioned it a lot, like especially I think, and I heard this opinion before, as a male shepherd romancing her. I mean, even as a female shepherd, like, she feels so young, like, she feels very similar to Tali, and you can't romance her in the first one. So you know what I mean. Yeah, but Liara is great, and it's, in my opinion, if you ask me, and it's not my favorite choice, I'll get into that later. I love her, I've nothing against her, that's not about pitting ships against each other, even though I talked about rating them. I haven't even thought of a rating system, so bear with me. But Liara, in my opinion, is technically the canon choice for a shepherd to romance, because she is the only one that you actually are able to romance through the entire trilogy. If you have the Lair of the Shadow Broker DLC, I'm not sure how far the talks on Ilium go if you don't have that DLC, because I've always played it ever since I got it. And That's different from, let's say, Caden and Ashley, who are a bit complicated in Mass Effect 2. Which brings me to Caden and Ashley. Caden is a pretty nice guy, I guess. I never really bothered to romance him because I either wanted to save myself for later romances in the game trilogy, or I played as a male shepherd and also couldn't wait for my male shepherd to romance Tally. But we are still at Mass Effect 1, so back to Caden. I'm really glad that he became a romance option for the male shepherd in Mass Effect 3. I should probably save my thoughts on that for later, but he gets introduced here, so I'll just say it now. It's cool, and there are voices that say, why couldn't he be patched in as a romance option for a male shepherd in Mass Effect 1, but also there are actual people who discover only later in life that they are into both men and women, and maybe something in between, or neither. You know. And like that's a valid excuse to just have him be romanceable for a male shepherd in the last game. Ashley, on the other hand, like, I also never really bothered to romance her. I tried, but I think I put her racism and concern about the non-human squad mates, I might have put her down too harshly and messed up the whole romance arc when I did actually try to romance her, so I don't know where that actually goes, unless I would go and look up some videos. But her arc is fine, as we actually figure out later if we don't leave her behind on Vormaya. I still don't know what it is with the Vormaya survivor about the whole Cerberus deal. Like, I'm trailing off, that's a topic for a whole other video. I'm sorry. Stay tuned for that, I have something prepared. It'll come someday. So, that's it about Mass Effect 1 actually, since we only have like 3 romance options, 2 for each player choice of male or female shepherd, and like there's Liara, and then there's either Ashley or Caden for either male or female shepherd, and yeah, so that concludes Mass Effect 1. Liara is great, she's the actual canon choice if you ask me, and that's by pure fact. That's like, I wish it was more, how do I say, less obvious to pick her, since Liara is like there all the time, and even in Mass Effect 2, when she's not on the ship, she's still like friendly. She's still as confused about Shepard being gone for 2 years as everyone else is, but it's easy with her. And you have lots of conversations with her because of the Asari ability of the mind stuff, and the whole Reaper and Prothean tech stuff. It's just like, it's the logical choice to have her as a main romance option. Like, the game series would have probably been fine if there was no romance option at all and Liara just happened, like Elena and Nate in Uncharted, or In Wolfenstein, BJ and that sweet Polish girl who nursed him in that institution for unwell, you know, if you play the game, you know what I mean, like there's like some obvious stuff, or like markers and North and Detroit Become Human, even though I still don't agree with that. Check out my romance in games video if you want more on that topic. So yeah, let's move to Mass Effect 2, because there's a lot more stuff. And Mass Effect 2 gives us a whole lot more characters to date, because let's be real, we fell in love with some of them in the first game. Which brings me to Garrus Vakarian. As some of you might know, is actually maybe my favorite romance option, because I don't know, he's just really cool, and that voice, come on, Turians with their voices, and he's just like also just such a good friend to Shepard, and he's there with them all the time, and it's kinda sad that male Shep doesn't get to romance him, because that would be kinda cool. Yeah. Garrus is great. I like the Garrus romance, especially how it just kind of goes from more or less just blowing off steam in face of the danger of the mission to an actual relationship with caring and stuff and love and hopes for the future, and it's just so good. I like it a lot. Next up we've got Tali, the golden girl, our girl, the good girl, the best girl, Tali. I love her, and it's such a shame she isn't a romance option for FemShep, because she's just so great, and I just don't buy that line. Well, if you were a Quarian, I'd be happy to link my suit with you. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure, Tali. Mm-hmm. I like her. She's cute. Tali is great, and her character growth is just amazing when she goes from just such a young kid on her pilgrimage to a fucking admiral of the Quarian fleet and advising on the Reaper stuff, and just like Garrus, it's great. I also like that if you don't romance either of them, that they end up together. It's great, it's cute, it's really celebrations for the win. It's I like it a lot. It's cool. Next up, I guess I'm talk about Thane. Everyone who likes the shape of water knows what joke I would love to make a lot. But like, you know, if there is ever a Mass Effect movie or TV series, you know who I want to get involved with the costume design, especially for the Drell. Get those people on board to make the aliens look great, please. But there's something kinda tragic and sad about Thane, and as we all know, he's sick, he's about to die, and also he's just grieving his dead wife, and I think that's just like kinda, I don't want to say the P word, but it's problematic. Like, I don't know, he's vulnerable, and then there's the stuff with his son, and also he should be available for a male shepherd to romance. So, and then he dies like in the middle of Mass Effect 3, so it's not a great romance. He's a sweet guy and great and one of those aliens everyone is crazy about. And like, but it's just like, in comparison to the other romances, it's just bad. Like, no, please, can we just not have your romance option die? And like, Shepard loses so many people, and then if a femshep would fall in love with Thane and to lose him, in addition to all the people she already lost, that's not good. That's way too sad. Another thing that is sad is that the Jack romance got cut for a femshep. Because Jack is great and her character is great, especially her character growth when you take Mass Effect 3 in consideration, how she takes care of the children at Grissom Academy. It's really sweet. I've never personally pursued a romance with her, but I did hear some critical voices that it's kind of some trauma stuff, that it would be inappropriate to romance her. But I don't care. Jack is great, and like, that's a whole other bucket of stuff to open, which I'm not gonna dive into, because I just want to talk about the romances. And Jack is great, and I wish she was available for femshep, as well as Miranda, who is really great too, and I really like her character growth too, that she goes from being, I suffer from my perfection, and then she goes up against Cerberus and her father and everything, and just uses her skills for good and doesn't follow Cerberus anymore. And I think it's really good for her to have someone who can challenge her, like Shepard, because Shepard is Shepard, and he, in that case, because she's only available for male Shepard, is somewhat of an equal to her. And I think she needs that, and I think that's what makes the romance good. And yeah, next up we have, I'm not sure if I should count Kelly since she's just a fling, so I'm not gonna go into that. Am I forgetting someone? Well, there's the thing with Caden and Ashley and the whole complication on Horizon. So that's like bad, I guess. Yeah, I think that concludes Mass Effect 2. So, obviously I forgot Jacob, which I kind of feel horrible about, but look. They pulled a cheating plotline, and Shepard and Jacob have only been separated for like, what, 6 months or so because of the whole Cerberus deal or the Batarian relay stuff, depending on what you played. And like, it's not Shepard's fault that there was radio silence. Shepard was like in custody, military radio silence stuff, so. And then Jacob goes and fucking cheats on Shepard. So, and then the romance overall is like, but the price. It's a bad romance, and one of the worst romance shouldn't be with a black guy and the cheating plotline. That's like just absolutely bad, but that's not I as a white person shouldn't be talking about this, so I'm just gonna leave it there that I don't like the romance with Jacob because of those reasons I just listed. And then we have Mass Effect 3, which finally gives a male Shepard a chance to be queer, with either Caden, who suddenly discovers he's bi, which is totally fine, as I mentioned in my section about Mass Effect 1. It's okay, it's fine, especially like story-wise, that Caden basically escaped the death, and maybe that made him think and realize that he cares for Shepard more than just a fellow soldier. And we get Steve Cortez, the pilot of the shuttle, who is great, but also he has like the fame problem. He still mourns his husband, and like it's not even been like what? Not even a year or something? Depending on how long time it has been, I think it must have been at least like 6 months or so, because that's how long Shepard was in custody, I think. With the collector abduction that took Steve's husband, should be about that. So, a little bit complicated. Then, as another exclusive to one Shepard option, we got Samantha Trainer. Wonderful, 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 wonderful Sam. I love her a lot. I love the romance with her. I wish it would have happened sooner, because having that develop over longer than just the time of Mass Effect 3 would have been so nice. I like the romance with her a lot, especially since she got like dreams of owning a house with a white picket fence and a golden retriever and kids, and it's really nice how she imagines her future with Shepard. It's really sweet. And then we have all the romances that continue from the previous game, all loves that get rekindled, like if you romance Ashley or Caden with male or female Shepard, you can continue your romance with Liara and Garrus and Tally, and they are all so great, and it's really sweet to have them with you in those last moments, and it really, really shows like how good those romances are, and especially the free time of Garrus on the Citadel. It maybe kind of shows that Garrus is probably one of the favorites of the writers, like the shooting contest up in the Presidium. It's really sweet, like in comparison. The date with Liara is, I don't want to say boring, but it is boring. And yeah, as I said, there are some romances I haven't really explored myself, but I'm sure they're really great. And then there's like the 1 or 2 or 3 flings that you can have on the Citadel DLC, which are probably okay. One of them is really inappropriate since, well, actually, given the rank and military stuff, most of those romances are probably inappropriate, but the fling between James and Femshep is like, nope, big nope, nope. So yeah, there is not much to say about romances in Mass Effect 3, since most of them are just continuations of what has been built up from before. it is cool that Shepard finally gets like exclusive queer romances, as I said, femshep with Samantha and male shep with Steve, and that Caden finally is an option for both male and female Shepard. It's great. I personally think Ashley should have gotten the same treatment. Just like for, since Caden and Ashley are kind of like two sides of the same coin in a way, since they are both the Wormire survivor, depending on how you choose. They're your first squad mates, and in my opinion it would just have made sense to have Ashley discover her bi side in Mass Effect 3 too. So yeah, that's it about Mass Effect 3, and I think I'ma just jump into Andromeda real quick, because I just wanna gush about Vetra for a bit, because I finally got to romance a female Turian, and female Turians' voices are just so great too. I love Turians a lot. Can you guess that Redvar is my favorite romance of probably the entire franchise? Because I already loved the Garrus romance so much, and then finally getting a female Turian to romance. Wonderful, wonderful. It's amazing. And then there's Suvi, who is a great character. She's really sweet, and I love that she's an exclusive option for just a female writer. Then we have the fling of, pirate guy on Kadara. I'm forgetting his name. But that's like because he's just a fling. It's cool that he's available for both male and female writer. That's great. Then PB, I love her. She's sweet, she's cool, she's like so energetic and fun and crazy, and it's cool to have another Asari as an option for both male and female player character. I do like that you can flirt with Cora and Liam as a male or female writer, and that they let you down gently. I think Liam lets you down a little bit more gently, saying that he's flattered that male writer is interested in him, but he's not into dudes. And then Cora gets maybe a little bit more defensive, but maybe just because she's just used to working so much with the Asari. That said, the romance with Cora as a male writer is really sweet. She's cool. The romance with Liam as a female writer is maybe a little bit boring compared to the other romances. He's not as bad as Jacob, but that's probably just the best thing that I could say about him. If you love Liam, let me know. What do you like about him? Like, as a good buddy, I can see a relationship with him, but nothing more than platonic. Speaking of platonic, you gotta be platonically friends involved, a relationship with Jarl before you get to romance him. Finally, as both male and female writer, and it's interesting to have a new alien to bang, let's be real. The Angara are really interesting and it's really cool. I think that just makes the romance with Jarl kind of interesting since he's new and shiny. It's great. And then we have also Jill as only exclusive option for a romance as a male writer, and I'm a little bit unsure about his romance arc because it's all about his best friend, kind of, with the procreation and stuff, and there's kind of weird jokes about that he is making her job hard because, you know, he is queer and she's responsible for all the baby making on Andromeda. I don't know, I'm a little bit unsure about that romance. It's, I think, I want to say problematic again, but I think it's not as problematic as other romances, so it's solid. Let's leave it at that. Pretty much all romances are just solid, and I think that's what they should be. Solid. To have your player character something to ground themselves on, to have an anchor, to feel safe, to be held, and I think that's good. Mass Effect has been with me for quite a while. It's over a decade now, come to think of it. And the fun thing is, when I came out to one of my friends back then, he actually did recommend Mass Effect to me because I could be in a relationship with a female alien as a female player character. And maybe that's also because why Liara, the romance of Liara, will always have a special place in my heart, because it's just something that's really personal to me because of that reason, because of that little story, how the Mass Effect series just entered my life. I don't know how long it would have taken if it wasn't for that fact that Mass Effect would have come into my life, and it's great. I love the series so much, and I love that you can have those romances, and especially that you can have queer romances, and that has been like one of the first times that I actually got to do that. Well, and there was The Sims, but that's just like if you were playing with your toys in a dollhouse or something. So I don't think it really counts. It counts because in some countries it's forbidden because of the same-sex romances that are possible. So yeah, but Mass Effect is special to me, especially the romances. I really like it. It's great when games have romance options, especially if you can be queer. And I can't wait to see what the future of Mass Effect has in store in the romance world. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite Mass Effect romance? Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Feel free to follow me on my social media on Instagram and Twitter at CommanderNici, just like my channel name. And until I figure out what I can upload next, watch my other stuff. Bye.